So let's talk about trying to get used to being multiversal, if you will. And not just that, but a little connection I've made in the beautiful pattern recognition and the beauty of that. Like, we don't want to dwell on that because that's not what we are. But it is very helpful when you're trying to set yourself free from the patterns and the akashics that surround you. There's potentials to timelines all over the place. And in some cases, your state of need will, or what you think is need, will put you in a place of receiving timelines that don't feel quite right, and you have to feel that out. And it's a constant redirection or attention to focus, a level of awareness and mindfulness of what you're being offered in each moment. So the pattern is important, but when you get back to the root of things, in all of its essences, it goes back and forth, and the obvious thing is at the beginning of both things, the distortions happened when people started just following the calls to do things that would cause harm to anybody, even if it was just a fearful thought, that then created a threat out there that didn't exist before that, but like it's just funny, you got the apple tree, right? Somebody eats an apple and like everybody's cursed. Of course the apple is just too much information and memories of old timelines that didn't serve, which is why we were here, to kind of start fresh and see what we could do, whatever form that might be in, and however we became what we are, and whatever kind of hybrids we are, or what have you. But it's like funny, you go to the Egyptian story, right? And it talks about Isis, who I have a deep connection with. Could have been, who knows? We all have the potential to remember that timeline, so who knows what's really going on there. But you talk about Isis and Osiris, and then you got Set. The story kind of goes, and this is just the logistics because I don't study this stuff, I just follow the breadcrumbs. I get a question that spirit brings to my attention, and I just go for whatever my heart calls me to look for, or look a little deeper into, to try and make these connections. And it just automatically happens now with like everything I hear. So but the story is so funny because it talks about, and it's just like with the Bible, how people can't see the allegorical stuff in there. It talks about Osiris just like chilling one day, right? And then Set coming in and pushing him into a box, or somebody coming in, and I think they say Set comes in and pushes him into a box while he's got his back turned, while he's not being aware of what's going on and who he is and what he is at his core. Anyway, so the story is he gets pushed into this big box, and then the box is sealed and tossed into the Nile or something, and then later it's found by somebody, and his parts are chopped up into 14 pieces. Isis spends lifetimes going around looking, well, maybe it talks about in this, it's trying to say one lifetime, but goes around, collects these 14 pieces, puts them all together. Funny story, they can't find the phallus, and so she uses something else. There's so many like weird allegorical things going on here. and why people can't see it, layman's terms, how it just boils down to continuous distractions from the state of isness and just being, and that being enough, constantly needing the extra thrill, the extra envelope you're pushing, or edge you're walking, or that rush you're looking for. It's a great energy, and it does give stimulation, but only until it's not needed anymore, because you do reach this place where, because there was a yearning to do that when I couldn't, but I chose this lifetime for a reason. So I ended up being still in my sacred space. A lot of it probably has to do with the amount of power that I hold, and I'm not really fully aware of yet. Sorry, guys. I'm really working on it here. but doing it without guidance, and I take that back. There's plenty of guidance in human form and in spiritual form. And despite how frustrating and painful and mind-altering and confusing and sometimes a little bit, I don't know what the word is that would describe pulling you into crazy land, but despite how it feels like it's attempting to do that, that's just a natural occurrence in tying all of these timelines together and manifesting things from all sorts of different places. And there could be outward sources that are doing things, but here's the thing. I know where my power is, and my power is in knowing that I'm a creator in some way, somehow. And by knowing that, I have my power. It just makes me stronger, like I said before. And I know my intentions. So if someone out there is mad at me, or if there is anybody that have placed any curses on me or binding spells of any sort, or trying to get my attention outwardly, whether they know it or not, which they could, it's continuously making me stronger in my focus on what is right here in my heart, the kind of things that feed my heart and don't try and distract me and take my attention elsewhere. And there's so many, especially when you're as open as I am at this point, where you can hear the bugs in the bushes and every bird sound and every butterfly and every leaf blowing, and it all has me just captivated. And it leaves me open for channeling, but not really a lot of time for writing. So, I'm really leaning more on just being me, doing this, not the videos thing. I think I might soon just aim more for writings, because I don't need to be seen. I don't need to be having anybody's energy, positive or negative, taking or feeding me, I really want people to grow, and I really want people to evolve and wake up without depending on anybody else, and maybe just by catching some words here and there in any ways that I can find to get them out there. That's great. But then I know it'll be more of a equal energy exchange, if you will. I know that I wrote the words, and that when somebody reads them, I'll still get the feeling, but there'll be so much less entanglement going on there. And to know what I know to this degree, and to feel how connected I am to anything that I speak to, even if it's just a text message or just a random message. Let's just say I get a Facebook friend request from somebody, and the moment I push accept, that's one layer of entanglement, because now they have my focus, and that's a timeline that I just created. This is real deal stuff. And depending on what kind of conversations take place, man, it's taken me years to be mindful enough to know what kind of people I was talking to, and love myself enough not to give my energy away in such grand ways. And my sacral has definitely had to do a lot of healing work because of that. But it's a gift, because it's helped me learn my purity and my divinity, and the layers of things that are stuck within me that not only hold people in those places and make them exist, but don't do anything to heal them, And that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to, speak truth from my heart. And a lot of times that's more than a lot of people are ready for, but those that are ready for it will be ready for it. Not my job to figure that out, just my job to keep being me and watch what beautifully manifests at my door. I'm looking at my door in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. That's how this works for me. I sit here and I get myself to whatever place I be, and I see what kind of things show up. I mean, let's look at my room here. All these things, not one of them did I buy. They all just keep showing up, and it's not a lot. This is just my bedroom. This also happens to be my front door. Never mind the paradox there. But, it had a fireplace and all that jazz. So, what a cool bedroom. Anyway, I love you guys. And I hope we all get the hang of noticing what's happening and how we're always creating with whatever we're focused on, and understanding that at the root of everything, it's about realizing that we're always having a choice on which master to serve. And you can't serve two masters. It's not possible. I know a lot of people want to balance the shadow and the light, but that's not what this is. Masculine and feminine is not shadow and light. It's not darkness and light. It is, everything is light. And the density, no matter how comfortable it might feel in someone, and they might not want it to be healed or fixed in some terms, it's what it's asking for. It never wanted the judgment or hate or fear to have created it to begin with. It doesn't mind existing in its form, but it needs an energy that feels better. Because all we do when we think of something we're afraid of, then we create what we're afraid of, and then we be more afraid of it. All it does is it strengthens it. And if this is a human being, that is very detrimental to do to their soul. It's not good. And it won't come back well on you or your offspring or the people that you're connected with or the things that you're doing in this world. So we all have to be really vigilant and take responsibility for our thoughts and our feelings. And that's a big job. If it was easy, like my friend said, everybody'd be doing it. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day.